I go first? Good morning, Saras. We want to thank you for joining us this morning for putting the sisters back in sisterhood. My name is Sarah Rachel Goods, Lambda Zeta chapter, Finer Womanhood chair. The Finer Womanhood celebration is a sorority hallmark which began in 1923, unique to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Finer Womanhood celebration around the globe emphasize the standard morals, customs, and attributes of fine young ladies, communities, and sorority members. This celebration is to encourage rededication to sorority ideas, increase community consciousness, and empower the citizen. Finer Womanhood Month is the last week in February through the entire month of March. At this time, we will have greetings from my basilisk, Dr. Denise Wolfe-Hilliard, President of Lambda Zeta chapter.
Good morning and welcome. As our MC said, we are in the middle of our Finer Womanhood Observance Month. We're delighted here in the Houston area to have 5 chapters of Zeta Phi Beta sorority, and today we welcome the presidents of each of those chapters to serve as panelists. Sisterhood is the 3rd principle of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and our panelists will expound on how we in Zeta are bound to our sisters locally, regionally, and nationally. Again, thank you for participating with us this morning. We hope you enjoyed what we have to offer about Zeta Phi Beta sorority's unique definition of sisterhood. Sarah Goods?
Yes, I'm trying to get off mute. Okay, I will introduce the panel. Dr. Denise Wolfe-Hilliard, President of Lambda Zeta chapter, member since 1970. Dr. Sally Wickers, President of Gamma Omega Zeta chapter, member since 1996. Dr. Ebony Baylor, President of Omicron Gamma chapter, member since 1994. Katina Hampton, President of Omega Delta chapter, member since 1994. Karina Kat Tucker Gray, President of New Alpha chapter, Texas Southern University, member since 2018. Okay, next is the introduction of the moderator. We have Sarah Stephanie L. Arnold. Stephanie Arnold is Senior Internet News Manager at Newsday, Long Island, New York, where she's responsible for helping audiences connect with the newspaper's best journalism. She oversees editing, digital content, and programming of the local, state, and world news sites of newsday.com and its mobile apps. Additionally, she is one of 3 voices of Newsday's Alexa Daily News Briefing. Stephanie has been a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated since her initiation into Gamma Alpha chapter on November 7th, 1997. She has served Zeta on every level of the sorority, including International Director of Public Relations, International Director of Publications, and Editor-in-Chief of the Archon. In those roles, Stephanie helped shape Zeta's international policy on image and branding as a co-author of Zeta's first website guidelines and authored the sorority's visual identity standards. She was elected to serve as the Atlantic Regional Grammatis, organized the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame in Zeta. and served as the first chairperson, organized one of Zeta's first local Zeta days at City Hall, and served as the youngest bacillus in recent history of Beta Delta Zeta chapter of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, excuse me. Professionally, Stephanie is an award-winning journalist who has worked as an intersection of social media, digital journalism, and analytics. She has trained and coached journalists across the United States. As CEO of Wash Creative Strategies, LLC, she specializes in editorials, architectural, and web design for entrepreneurs and nonprofit organizations. Before Newsday, she worked as an audience engagement editor and reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, as a Virginian Pilot's first social media editor, where she authored the company's first comprehensive social media policy and style guide for the newsroom. She is a former editor-in-chief for AOL Patch North Atlantic News site and spent more than a decade as a reporter in Metro, Philadelphia, and Delaware, covering municipal government, education, and public safety. She has been a thought leader in newsroom ethics and accountability journalism with the American Press Institute, and was invited to serve on PBS Editorial Standards Review Committee with a national team of journalists to review, update, and standardize the use of its standards across all platforms. A staunch advocate for women and girls, Stephanie is the founding chair of the board of directors for the Echo Collection based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Follow Sarah Arnold, Twitter at Ms. Arnold, Instagram at Ms. Stephanie Arnold, Facebook, Ms. S. Arnold, web, stephanie.arnold.com. I'm sorry, web, stephaniellarnold.com. I now present to you Sarah Stephanie L. Arnold.
Well, Sora Goods, thank you so very much. And to my chairperson here, also to our bacillus, Dr. Wolf Hilliard, thank you so very much for this unique opportunity to convene with you during the Finer Womanhood Observance, my favorite time in Zeta. This is an opportunity for us to not just celebrate our organization, celebrate the unique principle of Finer Womanhood of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, but to celebrate each other and to celebrate other women doing outstanding work in our respective communities. Even though we've had this unique experience of being hit with the coronavirus and having affected our communities and our personal lives and families in a variety of different ways, it also provided us this opportunity to convene together in a way that we may not normally have been able to do so. I live here in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, and I probably would not have been able to attend Lambda Zeta's Finer Womanhood Observance events. So I consider it an honor and a privilege to convene with you, Madam Bacillus and Madam Chair, as well as our distinguished panel of guests here today, because this is truly a unique opportunity. This is truly an opportunity for us to not just come together as sisters to celebrate the principle of Finer Womanhood during Finer Womanhood Month, but to also get perspective and to also get understanding about what really is this thing called sisterhood. So thank you so very much, ladies. I'm truly appreciative of it, and I'm ready to get started. Is everybody ready to get started to my panelists? Wonderful, wonderful. So I want to welcome too, for those of you in our listening audience on Facebook Live, I want to welcome you to this fantastic event. Just in case you didn't know, this is Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. This is the Lambda Zeta chapter. This is one of the oldest and longest serving chapters in the sorority at large, in the entire organization. So truly it is a pleasure for us to get together with this chapter, to get together with the wisdom and the experience that comes along with being a part of this chapter in the community diversity of chapters in this community in Texas. And so I'm looking forward to the questions and the comments and the feedback to those of you who are in our listening audience will have for us on this afternoon. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that I recognize about all of us on the panel is that we are all of us are in leadership. And so, Dr. Wolf Hilliard, because you are the home-based basilisk, the home-based chapter president right now, for those of you who are unaware of the Greek terminology, and I want to make sure that I keep in mind that there may be those of you who are out there who are not familiar with Greek terminology. The basilisk simply means president in our organization. So I want to make sure that I'm inclusive with the terminology. Madam Basilisk, Madam President, can you talk to us about the uniqueness of being the president, and anybody else can chime in after that, the uniqueness of being the president and facilitating sisterhood in your chapter, giving the different personalities and the different perspectives that comes along with leading a chapter such as yours? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, indeed. Lambda Zeta chapter is, did I unmute?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Okay. Lambda Zeta chapter is celebrating its birthday this month. We're 89 years old. We have 100 plus members. And when you have that length in your chapter legacy of being in the community, we have a multi-generational chapter. Some of our members are as young as 22 and some are as seasoned as 92. We have a lot of perspectives. So in that way, we have many sorors who can serve as mentors, number one, and we encourage that kind of relationship. We ask our seasoned sorors to mentor those who are just becoming members of the chapter or members of our organization to understand how Lambda Zeta has worked in the community and what our preferred style of working is. So mentorship is really important. Not only mentoring our new members so that they learn more about Zeta Phi Beta sorority, but mentoring them in prospective leadership roles. We ask them, well, what do you see yourself doing in Zeta in 5 years? And we try to help them get to that goal, reach that goal, whatever that goal is for them, by encouraging them to attend training that the organization presents on a continuum, and by helping them see that the skills that they have learned on their professions can be transferred into the chapter to make our chapter that much stronger. So mentorship on all levels is vital in Lambda Zeta, and we really try to use the strength of our multi-generational chapter to help provide that kind of mentorship.
That's amazing. I'm glad you mentioned mentorship. It's an often overlooked opportunity for a lot of us, and not just in the sorority, but most of us belong to other organizations outside of the sisterhood. And mentorship is so necessary for all of us, not just within the organization, but within our careers. And when you think about how many of us could have advanced in any area of endeavor in our lives without having a good, strong mentor, someone who was your cheerleader. Dr. Baylor, what are your thoughts in terms of leadership, how you are able to translate your leadership into facilitating sisterhood in your chapter?
Thank you for that question. And thank you to Lambda Zeta for the invite to be on the panel. I serve as the president of the outstanding Omicron Gamma Zeta chapter. We just celebrated 30 years. So we too, not as long around as Lambda Zeta, but definitely aspiring to, have a long, rich legacy as Lambda Zeta has. With regards to leadership in the chapter and fostering sisterhood, as Dr. Wolf Hilliard mentioned, we do have a lot of generations in our chapter as well. And being in a leadership role is always important to remember those that came before you and also where you're going, and also recognize the talents and the commitments that you have within the chapter, and recognize the talents. And in the leadership position, you have to sit back and observe. You have to see where, what are people doing? And have conversations, ask to, what are your passions? What is it that you want to do? And you see people really engaged and really passionate about things. You seek out opportunity for them to continue to be of service in those things. I do believe that whatever you're passionate about can become your purpose. And so we look for ways to incorporate that into our sisterhood so that people can feel connected and so they feel like, they do have a purpose within our sisterhood. We do so many things and serve in so many platforms, and there's always room for someone to do something and to contribute in the sisterhood. So being very intentional and being observant as a leader has definitely served a chapter well, and helping identify ways that sorors can be involved and find things that they love to do and be a part of in serving the sisterhood.
That's amazing. And I want to go to Sora Tucker Gray, because you hit on something about finding your purpose. And Sora Tucker Gray, I wanted to ask you, now that Dr. Baylor has jumped us off here on this particular topic, which I find really interesting, because I want to find out from you your thoughts on other examples. Dr. Baylor gave us one, but other examples that you can share of how organizations that you've been a part of fostered sisterhood in a healthy manner.
So first and foremost, it's about positivity from all of the women that are involved in the organization. We have to realize that as women, especially Black women and people of color, society is already naturally trying to tear us down. So we have to band together and put our differences aside, and support each other, uplift each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sora Hampton, what are your thoughts on organizations in terms of whether it's inside of Zeta or outside of the organization, where you have found most helpful with respect to fostering sisterhood?
I would say, as the other panelists have mentioned, recognizing the talents of others and also valuing people, letting them know that we actually see them and we value them. We value their contributions to the organization and the sisterhood, supporting each other. I have been very fortunate to work with the same group of women for a number of years in my professional life. And that has been the key, is recognizing that we all come from different walks of life, different experiences that that help us to move forward as a group, embracing those differences and being able to work together toward a common goal. And that's been the case professionally within the sorority as well. We're all different, but recognizing those talents and showing everyone that they have value.
Absolutely. Sora Wickers, good morning. What we're hearing from these distinguished panelists are 100% on point, and I don't think anyone in their right minds would be it would be advantageous to disagree with what they've said. But why do you think it's so difficult sometimes? Why do you think it seems easy enough to do the things to foster respect, to respect other people's differences and opinions, to respect even generational differences within the context of the organization and those opinions? Why do you think it's so hard, and what else should we be doing to dig a little deeper? Or is there something else that we need to be doing to dig a little deeper to get to the root of how to foster and facilitate sisterhood in our organizations and in our lives overall?
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's something that we need to dig a little deeper to foster the sisterhood, but I do know that it all goes back to the beginning from training. As a kid, if you're taught to respect others and respect their differences and their opinions, that carries you through life. And that is what you use when you get to be an adult, or when you're working together with people. You use those skills that you've gotten as a child, and you demonstrate those skills when you become an adult working in the workforce or in organizations like ours. You have to be able to understand that everybody's not going to have the same background as you. And it's different. And it's difficult sometimes when people don't see things the way you see them, and you don't accept that they don't see them the way you see them. So if we do have to dig a little deeper, I would say start with our younger sorors and just groom them and nurture them, and turn them into great leaders, because everyone has something that they can bring to the table.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Let me just pause for the calls, if you don't mind, ladies on the panel. I want to welcome those of you who are listening or watching in live to Lambda Zeta. This is Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Lambda Zeta chapter presents Putting the Sister Back in Sisterhood. We are here celebrating our Finer Womanhood Observance. This is an annual observance for every Zeta and every Zeta chapter across the continental United States and abroad. This is our celebration of the unique principle of Finer Womanhood, for which Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated was founded. So we are so excited to be here. I'm here as a visitor, but these are my ladies. This is my tribe here. So I am so excited to be here among my sorors from Lambda Zeta in this community to talk about and to really facilitate a discussion around sisterhood, something that is so deep and dear to my heart, something that has been on spotlight and on display within our communities from a political and social economic perspective, particularly the last 2 or 3 years, really a spotlight on it. And so I'm happy to be here with my sorors to help talk about this conversation and to help bring you along. If you have questions, we're welcoming you to ask those questions. Please type in the comments on the Facebook Live. We have our sorors here waiting for your comments. We're going to be taking the comments and we're going to be incorporating your comments and or questions into this conversation. So again, welcome to this really unique opportunity to participate in our Finer Womanhood Observance of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Overall, we're celebrating 101 years of service to the global community. So we're so excited about that. Sora Stubbs, good morning. I am so excited to talk to you about, this is something that I think many people, when you talk about, when you're asking the question about why you join sorority or why you join any organization, a lot of people will ask you about this or ask you some iteration of this. And I'm going to ask it to you, Soror. What do you see as the benefit of shared sisterhood in your life?
Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure
I
that you
can
guys
hear you now.
I don't
Yeah.
have my camera on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the question. I grew up with a lot of sisters, and so for me, it's always something that's kind of been a part of me. Similar to what Sora Wicker said, it's something that I grew up with, and so it's just a natural part of who I am as a woman. Given the climate right now that we're living in, it is very essential that we band together and build one another up and continue to love and support on one another even when it's difficult, because at the end of the day I feel like that's all we have is each other, and those relationships really carry us throughout not just the sorority life but life outside of Zeta with your family, with the people that you work with other organizations that you're in. It's really really important, and it's just something that I carry with me because it's been instilled in me from a very young age.
Absolutely. And Sora Green, I want to pose that question to you, Sora Green Miradagamo. I want to pose that question to you too, but also because you're the last person that I'm talking to in reference to this particular round, I want to give you that question. If there's anything else that you wanted to add to any of the other perspectives that was shared, please feel free. But what do you see as the benefits of shared sisterhood in your life?
And I am also working in the background, so I will not have my video shared. But
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
all.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, it's okay. Actually, I'm a big sister, right? I am the oldest of 4 siblings. And I've always been the one that had to take care of. Being in this sorority has given me the opportunity to have plenty of other sisters and big sisters. Those who have been in the sorority and are seasoned individuals who have worked toward creating the best organization on the planet. And from them, I learn a lot of things, what to do, not to do. They are willing to help encourage and to share and to help me grow in all aspects and areas of my life. So I truly appreciate the opportunity to have that relationship, because sometimes it's hard, when you're the oldest, everything is your responsibility and you don't always catch what you're not doing because you're so used to having to do it all. And just to have that sister put a hand on your shoulder, it's like, it's okay, sis, it's all right, you don't have to do everything, let us help. That's what I get from it.
I love that. I love that. Well, I am you know, the whole idea and the concept of sisterhood is, you know, people respond to the responsibility, and that's a whole nother conversation, but sisterhood is a responsibility. um and it brings me to this question that I wanted to ask the panel. If someone opened up to you and shared a story of personal pain, and this is in line with the sisterhood being responsibility, how do you think you would respond to that? How do you think you would respond to that? And do you think there's an appropriate way to respond? So Hampton, I want to start with you.
Yes, I too, like Sarah Green, am the oldest of my siblings and one of the oldest of my cousins. So people have always felt comfortable in sharing their pain with me. Um, and for me, it's being there to offer words of encouragement to them if they need it. Being able to share that load, carry the load. And sometimes it's just being silent and just being there for them in their time of need in whatever way that I can be. So.
Absolutely. Dr. Wolf Hilliard, I see you shaking your head, nodding. It looks like you have some personal experience with that, sis.
Yes, I do. In my former life, I was a principal of an elementary school, which you know is a profession that's made up primarily of women. And on the campus where I served, there were 50 of us, all women. So yes, a lot of people shared their personal pains. The students, sometimes parents, even felt comfortable enough to come in and share what was going on in their lives. And for sure, teachers often shared it. So yes, I do know what I would have done because I had to do it. I did whatever was needed at the time for that person. Some sisters needed me to listen and just be a sounding board. Some wanted comfort. Some wanted to know what resources were available to help them get through whatever the situation was. So my primary goal was to listen for what my sister needed at that moment and to be the instrument to try to give her or put her in the right direction for whatever it was she needed. But a lot of times I had to listen. And one of the things that we do well as women is we listen well. We can be really good sounding boards, and sometimes that's all our sister needs. We don't need you to solve the problem for us. We just need you to listen and help us get through whatever this situation is. So yes, that's why I was nodding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there other sorors who want to chime in on that? Because that is Sora Tucker Gray. Absolutely.
Thank you for the question. I would love to. Like my other soror said, I am also the big sister. I'm the oldest of 5. And even so, I am a psychology major currently. So a lot of my friends or people in my life, they do find it very easy to open up to me with personal experiences or even venting. And even still, the response is the same every time. You have to open your arms and your ears and be sympathetic to what somebody is telling you, because you never know what that person might have went through just to even get to this point of telling their story. Even in our community, it's normalized to internalize our pain. So for somebody to come and be like, soror, I'm in so much pain, so much is going on, you have to listen. You have to listen, you have to love on them. If you have the proper resources, or if you know somebody that has the proper resources, you have to direct them. And also know that, let them know that you're there for them and give them sound advice if necessary. And yes, thank you. Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's an important one, an important conversation to have. As you all were talking, I'm thinking that, all of you are leaders currently in your chapter. And I'm wondering how, what are some of the things that you wish other folks would know about being the president and being a sister at the same, simultaneously? Because I think sometimes we carry the weight of leadership. And so there's a dichotomy of really trying to be there for someone, but maybe having to correct someone as well, maybe having to, initiate discipline for someone. What's the dichotomy there? How do you navigate that, Dr. Baylor, with the whole concept of sisterhood?
Thank you for that question. That is being a leader and being the chapter
president is definitely it could be difficult at times, but I think always keeping in mind, and a very dear soror told me this, you do what is right and you do what is honest. And you keep the sisterly love. At the end of the day, we are all sisters. Okay, we all took the same oath. We are all, we are bounded by our oath in the things that brought us to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And there are times where we're going to have crucial conversations. There are times that we're going to have to, talk about the ugly truth. But at the end, it's important to recognize it's not so much what is said versus how it's said. And so, being mindful of our tone, being mindful of our, how we present our information. And I always use the think model. I was talking to someone about this the other day. The word think. Is it true? Is it honest? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring and informative? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So, those things, that's the acronym when putting together a message or coming, and having those tough conversations. And, some folks think because you're the president, you can do this and do all of these things. But first and foremost, doing what is right and what is honest, and remembering sisterly love, because none of us in leadership ever want to bring hurt, harm, or danger to any of our sisters or our sisterhood. So putting that first, I think that has that is what is working or has worked for me. And I encourage, everyone to kind of give some thought to that as they navigate their journey, or if they're aspiring to be in a leadership role within the organization.
I love that. I love that. I want to check in with our tech team, and I want to just pause again for those of you joining us live. You're on with Zeta Phi Beta. It's your lucky day. You're on with Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Lambda Zeta chapter. We're celebrating our Finer Womanhood Observance, and we are here having a conversation about putting the sister back in sisterhood. I want to check in with the tech team to just make sure I don't have my Facebook up or anything right now. So I just wanted to check in with the chat team, the tech team, and I want to be mindful of the time because I was given some specific time for this panel and this discussion to make sure that we don't have any questions and to make sure that we're okay on time so that we can just keep the conversation going.
We are good on time, Soror, and lots of conversation, good comments, positive feedback from Facebook, but no questions yet.
No questions as of yet, no problem. We're going to keep the train moving then. I love it, I love it, I love it. I want to now discuss a couple of things in terms of what we can do collectively. And I really, really want to get your feedback, Sorors, on what we can do, and this can be to any of the panelists. What can we do collectively as individuals to build a shared sisterhood in all aspects of our lives? I'm not just talking about Zeta. I'm not just talking about whatever you're doing with the Urban League or with your church, but collectively and individually, given everything that's going on, given the climate of our nation right now and our global community, what can we do collectively and individually to really build shared sisterhood in every area of our lives? Any panelists can jump in on this.
Soror Arnold.
Yes, Doc.
I think one of the most important things for us to do as Black women living in America is to provide a fishnet so that we can pull up as many of our young sorors as we can, not one at a time, but throw out the whole net and get as many as we can. Support them in their efforts, be their cheerleaders, be their mentors, guide, provide protection when needed. Because if we're the senior sisters, and that's my role in my chapter now, then I feel it is my role, my obligation, my responsibility to take care of those who are coming behind me. I have no natural sisters, but through Zeta, I have more than 10,000 sisters. I cherish them. I respect them, and it is my job, as long as I take breath, to do all that I can to make sure that they reach their goals, that they don't step in the potholes that I had to step. So I'm part of that, removing the obstacles for them. I believe we can do that in Zeta as well as in our professions. I told you, I worked with all women. Some of my teachers were crackerjack teachers. To see them leave, and a lot of them wanted to go because they wanted to progress. They wanted to become counselors and assistant principals. It would have been very selfish of me to block that path. So what I did was take on the role of making sure that when they decided to move, I gave them every opportunity to grow in the area they wanted to, while making certain that I was preparing 2 or 3 other people and looking for others to take their place. I took it as a sign of good leadership, really, that many of them were moving on and becoming stars in their new roles. That's what we should do as women. Women have to take care of women. And we need to understand that because of our similar experiences, our shared experiences, that these are unique experiences. And because we can understand where the other sister has walked and we can guide her, that is our job. So we need to take care of ourselves professionally and personally.
Okay, who else got chills? Who else feels the need to throw all your money at Dr. Wolf Hilliard for that word? Is there anyone else on the panel who wants to chime in on that, on this topic? What can we do individually and collectively to facilitate that? I see you, Sora Tucker Gray, you unmuted yourself.
Oh my goodness. Dr. Denise Wolf Hilliard is actually my mentor in Zeta. Every time she speaks, oh my goodness, my heart gets so full. But she is absolutely correct.
Why?
To piggyback off of what she said, she's absolutely correct. Anytime that I need her at any time of the day, she makes sure that she responds to me, and that anything that I'm inquiring about, she makes sure that I get the information and the knowledge that I need. So with what she said, it's very, very true. The older generation of sorors and even just women, they have to start kind of like looking over us, starting to take care of us, protect us, because we do need that guidance. A lot of us very much so need that loving hand to be like, I was there at one point in time. Let me learn you something. Let me tell you how you can do this. So I'm pretty sure there are plenty of women my age or younger than me, or that are just like an absolute sponge that would be willing to soak up as much knowledge as you could possibly give. Excuse me. So thank you for that question. And thank you for that knowledge, Dr. Hilliard.
Dr. Hilliard, we're not going to be the same after that, sis. So just going to get used to it. Anyone else want to chime in? So Wickers, I see you down there with the beautiful smile. What you got for us?
Thank you, Sarah Arnold. I would just like to say that, when you're trying to develop relationships and get people involved and on board and get them moving, there has to be a level of trust. And I think that's really, really important, especially where women are concerned, because we don't trust each other too easily. I know people have to earn mine, I have to earn theirs, vice versa, but it has to be a level of trust there so that you feel comfortable enough to be able to embrace, whatever it is you're trying to do in the community, especially when you're talking about sisterhood. Because sisters, that's sacred to me. Sacred. I'm the oldest too. We got a lot of firstborns on here on this panel, but being the oldest, and most people who are in leadership tend to be firstborns. You can just do the research on that. But when you have women that need that nurturing and that care, in order to get this thing going where we can impact our communities, our sorority, I see this as a metaphor. Like, I like to barbecue. When I light that coal and you get that coal right all next to each other, one start turning red, turning white, and then it's ready to go. Then the next piece start burning and it's ready to go. And before you know it, you got a good fire and it's all going good. But you can put on what you need to put on your meat and it's good, it's gone. So I think that trust and just letting it ignite and flow.
Now y'all heard her. Y'all heard So Wicker say live. Barbecue. She said it live that she liked the barbecue. So as sisters, when we all get our vaccinations and in this corona stuff, I'm just saying, as we put the sister back in sisterhood, don't be mad when we show up over there.
You're welcome anytime. My sisters are welcome.
I wanted to give the other panelists an opportunity to chime in, and I do have a question from the audience, but is there anyone else, any of the other panelists who'd like to chime in on that question, that idea?
Yeah, this is Dr. Baylor. If I could, I definitely, it's a great question, and I share the sentiments of all of my sister panelists, but also being intentional. Like, we all are, part of organizations, part of our work environment. We all, and I'm the first and
only born for my family, so I'm the only child, but I'm grateful for all of my sisters in Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. But in fostering sisterhood, we have to be intentional. Like, we have to be vulnerable. Part of garnering and gaining trust is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And that can be difficult because you want to trust, do I trust you with this? This is, personal experience to me. Am I able to, form that bond with you? But we have to be intentional. We have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable so that we can build that sisterhood and that bond. And also seek out opportunities to be a sister. Sometimes it's just a casual conversation. You never know what somebody is going through. And you could just have a look of calmness or peace that comes across your face. And a person feels motivated to trust you with something that's vulnerable to them. So being intentional, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and allowing yourself to be transparent as well. I think those are some key things that can definitely help foster and build up a sisterhood.
I love it so much. Thank you, Dr. Baylor. Any other sorors want to chime in on that? Very important conversation we're having here. I have a comment from the audience, and I thank the audience for their participation and for watching and chiming in on this conversation. You are watching Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated Lambda Zeta chapter. Okay, we're celebrating Finer Womanhood Month. This is our Finer Womanhood Observance, and we're having a panel conversation with a group of dynamic leaders. Please make sure that you check them out, follow them on their social medias, whatever. These are dynamic women helping to lead Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated into its next 100 years of service. And what we have here is someone from the audience who's talking about the Zeta hurt. And we can translate Zeta hurt to church hurt. We can translate church, that can be any kind of hurt that you experience in any organization. We've all been there. We've all had our feelings hurt at one time or another, whether it was within the organization or any other organization that we have been a part of. With that being said, how do you encourage your sorors to move forward through their pain to have peace personally and professionally, Zeta-wise? And let's start with, I haven't heard from my soror, Sora Hampton. Sora Hampton, you over in the corner on my screen. I want to grab you out the corner. What you got over there, sis?
Thank you so much for the question. And as you mentioned, that we've all had Zeta hurt, church hurt, work hurt, but it's recognizing that we have to keep moving forward. We have to keep progressing. We have to recognize consider the source and recognize that that person may be coming from a place of hurt themselves, and to not let that define us and our journey and our walk. We all have one, and we are all here to do our part to continue moving our organizations forward and not letting that get in the way of that. Setting it aside, recognizing sometimes that you have to love people from a distance. You have to work with them, but you sometimes have to love them from a distance and just keep things moving.
Absolutely. So Tucker Gray, I see you nodding, sis. Talk to me. You got anything about how do we move forward through pain, through any pain that we may be feeling, any hurt that we may be feeling in Zeta or otherwise, to move forward peacefully and professionally?
Through anything, I highly encourage you, to look for spiritual guidance. Look to God. Ask Him to just bring peace and stillness over your life. And then that's where you focus on healing. It is very hard to move past especially any type of organizational hurt, especially Zeta hurt, because this is a sisterhood. So when your family hurts you, it hits a little bit deeper than just a paper cut. So in that moment, you just have to look to God, just pray for just peace and harmony over your life. And you continue to work on yourself as a person, because at the end of the day, everything it boils down to you and your reaction. Not what happens to you, but how do you react to it? So taking a higher road, and sometimes realizing that people do have insecurities that they will project onto you, and realize, is this a me problem or is this a them problem? And then you move forward. Like, God, open my eyes. Give me some guidance. Let me know, is it me that I need to correct myself, or is it them and they need to go have a talk with you, and this has nothing to do with me? And then you move forward. You move accordingly. So thank you. Thank you, Sora, for that question.
Thank you for that insight. Dr. Boyd, I see you over there nodding. Yes, indeed. Do you have anything to add to that? How can we move forward through pain? I mean, luckily everything right now is going fantastic in my chapter, but hey, listen, what happens when someone hurts my feelings in chapter? What happens when someone hurts my feelings in the church? How do I move forward peacefully and professionally? So, Baylor.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. That is, first of all, we get mad wisdom from our undergrad soror over there, the psychology major.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling all of what she's saying. So thank you so much for that insight, Miss Psychology Major. But, the reality is we all, that hurt, it impacts us, all of us in a different way. We have to, I can say from a leadership perspective, is do the very best that you can to help sorors move forward. In the leadership role, sometimes you are the therapist, you're the psychologist, you're trying to analyze everything that's going on and making sure that, you're creating opportunity for your sorors to heal. But most importantly, I think from what I've experienced and what I've seen, sorors want to be heard. A lot of times that hurt stems from some unresolved conversation, some unresolved issue or action that took place. And sometimes people sorors need to get it up off their chest, and they need to be validated. So, and they need to be understood, and we all need to be understood. We all want to be heard, and we all want to be, validated. And, offering that space and offering that opportunity can contribute to the healing and can contribute to moving forward. But on the other side, for the soror that has been hurt, there has to be a commitment to make up your mind to move forward, right? And no one can tell you how long to hurt. No one can tell you that you shouldn't be hurt anymore. You shouldn't feel that way, because we all hurt and grieve situations differently. And we need to be able to respect that, a soror might really, just need this time to feel the way that she needs to feel. But we also need to be welcoming. We need to be encouraging. We also need to offer the opportunity for validation and to be heard. And I think really those are the two things that stand out to me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baylor. I have one more question from Facebook, and sadly, our time is nearing the end. I can't believe, the prophet Janet Jackson said, "Funny how time flies when you're having fun." So I just can't believe we've been on here talking that long. Listen, let me pose this question to you. In a multi-generational setting, this is a good question. How do you maintain sisterhood in a multi-generational setting? How do you maintain sisterhood? Any one of you ladies are qualified to answer this question. I know you know how to do it. What's the secret sauce? What you guys soror wickers down here? And I know I'm saying sauce, no pun intended.
Thank you, Sarah Arnold. In Gamma Omega Zeta chapter, we're transitioning where a lot of younger sorors are coming in, and then the seasoned sorors are just kind of sitting back watching. But I think what has worked for us is that the younger sorors are really in tune with the seasonal sorors. I mean, they call, they check on them. They don't really have close personal relationships coming in, but then I've noticed that a lot of them are now, you know, like almost like they have chosen them to be their mentors or chosen them to be their sister that they're going to keep, you know, be their sister's keeper. So I think when you have a variety of generations inside an organization, just have to be mindful that don't forget about us, you know, when we as we go on and get older and sometimes not on the scene. But that's my main focus, is that those that are not able to come out, those that are not able to do you know, be a part of the activities, check on them, make sure they're okay. Do you need anything? You know, so that's what we've done in our chapters, just to make sure that the young ones are connected with the seasoned ones, so that when you get that connection, it goes back to that code. When you get that connection, you know, then you have everybody is together. Everybody's on the same page. So I think that's really important. And that is a good question.
It is. All right. This is Sarah Wolf. I want to piggyback on what Sarah Wicker said, because like her chapter has been here a while, so have we, and have a variety of ages in our chapter. One of the things that we did at the start of this administration was to help sorors know we had to have a virtual retreat, that we had such a wide variance of perspectives in our chapter, and each group looked at the world through their special lens. So we tried to help the chapter see what life looks like through the lens of a Zeta dove, as opposed to a newer soror who's just come into the chapter. And we have to remind them that it's our life experiences that color how we see the world. Like Sarah Wicker said in her chapter, we made deliberate attempts to connect the newer sorors with some of the seasoned sorors, and to help the seasoned sorors stay connected, because there are things that they miss and want to do. So I believe that one of the ways that you can work with a multi-generational chapter is to help everyone understand that we have different perspectives and different views. They're all accepted because they're all different. And that is our strength, our differences. And we pull from all of the variety of strengths to make our chapter excellent or outstanding or premier. That's our strength. So we're not all supposed to be the same. We're not all supposed to see the thing the same way. And we look at all those differences and make a new view from the collaboration of looking at the world through so many different lenses.
Well, listen, again, you know, Dr. Denise Wolf Hilliard just, you know, completely slayed us in the spirit with her comment. We appreciate you. It's fantastic and amazing. I'm being flagged that it is our time, but I want to acknowledge every dynamic, beautiful woman on this panel, the leaders of our respective organization, in various communities. I am so excited and really relieved to see the power, the dynamo, the intelligence, the compassion that each of you have shown through this conversation. And I know that our sisterhood is in very good hands with you at the helm. Thank you so very much for allowing me the opportunity to be with you, to ask you a few questions, to convene and to really understand and learn from you dynamic women. I appreciate that. And with that having been said, I want to turn it back over to Madam Chair, Soror Goods. Thank you so very much for allowing me the opportunity to participate in this event. And your first Vice President, Soror Janika Boone, thank you so very much again for making the connection. I truly appreciate this opportunity. It's been an honor, truly.
My pleasure.
Soror Goods.
Oh, I did. Janika Boone is going to close us out.
Oh, perfect. Got you.
Thank you. She's on mute. Oh, you're on mute, Sarah Boone. Okay, well, I will take over. Thank you so, so much, panelists. This has been a wonderful event. We have learned a lot. I am very, very proud of my sorority. And it gives me the encouragement that I need to move forward as I am in the circles of women all of the time, sorors as well as non-sorors, as I continue the Finer Womanhood of challenge. Sisters, I don't need to remind you, but I want to encourage you to continue on with the girl power. That's what I call it, girl power. Let's continue on because we need each other. And once we have that listening ear that fuels us to move forward with strength. And I say that in closing, this was a wonderful event, very successful, and I thank each and every one of you. All right, I think that's it. I'm gonna say goodbye.
All right.
I'm stopping the live stream.
Okay.
All right, it should be